Well, it's really my pleasure to introduce our next speaker, Dr. Deb Tucci. She's the director of the National Institute on Deafness and Other Communication Disorders at the NIH. Uh, this is a position she's held since 2019. She oversees the development and implementation of strategic priorities to advance science and population health related to the mission areas of hearing, balance, voice, speech, language, taste, and smell. I think the most important thing you have to know is during this stressful time for research funding in general, we have an amazing leader at the helm of our institute, and our success is in her hands. Deb.
Thank you. Thanks, Anil. And thank you all for having me. So, speaking of strategic priorities, when I came to NIH about 6 years ago, one of my priorities was to further support and develop our ability to do research using human temporal bones. As you know, this is an irreplaceable resource and one that gives us tremendous detail about human disease that we can't get any other way. And so towards that end, we formed a working group of our council to help advise us on what resources would be most useful. And some of you were part of that working group, so I'm grateful for your work. And I think at this point, we have implemented all of the recommendations of the group. And so I'm going to tell you about the resources that we currently have to support this research. And I have no disclosures. So again, human temporal bone research is an irreplaceable resource to teach us about human disease and lead to further treatments. We have had a limited number of laboratories in the United States that have this capability, and that number had been dwindling over time. And I'm happy to say that I think we've bucked this trend and increased the number of labs that are capable of doing this research, as well as provided more resources so that even those of you who are in institutions that don't have a lot of the resources available can still avail yourselves of the data and do important research. So the objective is to build and maintain a national human temporal bone resource for all scientific researchers and clinicians, and to support research to advance the understanding of underlying pathophysiology of auditory and vestibular system disorders, and hopefully spur the discovery of new treatments. So I'm going to tell you about the initiative, which is comprised of 3 different programs. 2 of these, 1 and 3, are actually drawn from tremendous resources at NIH. So we're able to put more resources into these programs than we would be able to if we had to fund them independently. And number 2 is the National Human Ear Research Network, which is an extramural network. So first, the National Hearing and Balance Organ Donor Program. This is built on the backbone of a organ program at NIH. So this is one that harvests tissues from every part of the body. And because they have the knowledge base and the resources to do this, we feel like we're able to benefit from their tremendous expertise. So they are responsible for signing up donors, gathering the medical information from the donors, organizing the retrieval of human temporal bones, training personnel who are responsible for harvesting of the temporal bones, collecting muscle tissue for DNA analysis from the same donors, and when possible, to harvest also brain donations from the same donors. The second is the National Human Ear Resource Network, and this is a network of these 5 institutions: Johns Hopkins, Mass Eye and Ear, Stanford, UCLA, and the University of Minnesota. Some have been doing temporal bone research for a very long time. Some are newer to this program, but all have worked together collaboratively. So this is not just a research network. This is really a resource network. They are working together on working groups to develop resources. The resources are available online as well as in these individual institutions. And so these form an important resource hub that will ensure that this knowledge base and resources will be available to our field in perpetuity. So these are some of the examples of the working groups. They're working to develop image digitization standards, data user interface design, temporal bone harvesting guidelines, and a manual has been developed, specimen processing methods, technician training program, tissue sharing guidelines and policies, and harvesting of live organs. The third aspect of this is EarBase. And EarBase is a national database, data registry that provides auditory and vestibular researchers access to human inner ear data and images for a range of basic and clinical studies. So this is a new consortium that we have formed with a resource called FaceBase. This is a craniofacial database that was developed by the Dental Institute and is housed at USC Information Sciences Institute. So we form about a third of the funding for FaceBase and a third of the information that is put into this platform. And it is supported not only by the Dental Institute, but the NIH Office of Data Science Strategy in the Director's Office. And so this allows us to leverage tremendous NIH resources to form this data registry that will be available for our field in perpetuity. So EarBase has been able to accept transfer of 9,000 donor records from Massachusetts Eye and Ear Infirmary, which had held the temporal bone registry. And they have been excellent stewards of this and developed it over many, many years. But now we're able to put that data into this database. So this includes vital statistics, cause of death, otologic diagnoses, and histopathology. So included are digitized H&E images. Optimal scanning parameters have been developed by the network working group, and the scanning of remaining H&E slides is ongoing in the network lab. So this is data that has been both transferred and new data platforms have been developed, and this should be online as of June of this year. So this is a really wonderful collaboration between our entire research community and the staff at NIDCD. And I'm extremely proud and happy to tell you about it today. So if you do have questions, these are the NIH staff who have been involved in this program for many years, including Janet Sear and Amy Paremba. Those of you who've worked in this area know that they've been tireless advocates for this program for the past 10 to 15 years. Troy Hackett was part of the council working group that I talked about at the beginning. We actually recruited him to NIDCD a year or so ago, and were not able to retain him through the DOGE events of the past year. But very happy to say that he continues to be involved with the program part-time from his position at Vanderbilt. So please do get in touch with any of these staff members if you have questions. And I'm particularly pleased the way that the program was organized to follow this talk with a group of talks that really illustrate the value of human temporal bone research. So I'm looking forward to hearing those. Thank you.